The coffee shop smelled like burnt espresso and desperation, which seemed fitting for a Tuesday morning in Seattle. Maya hunched over her laptop, fingers flying across the keyboard as she transcribed another interview for the podcast network that barely paid her enough to cover rent. 23 years old, drowning in student debt, and living in a studio apartment that was generous enough to include both a functioning toilet and a family of mice in the walls. She didn't notice him at first. Nobody ever noticed Maya Chen, which was exactly how she preferred it: invisible, unremarkable, safe. But he noticed her. The man who entered the coffee shop moved like liquid shadow, all coiled muscle and predatory grace beneath an expensive charcoal suit that had no business in this neighborhood. Maya's eyes flickered up from her screen for just a moment, caught by the sudden hush that fell over the other patrons. He was tall, perhaps 6'4", with black hair that looked like he'd been running his hands through it and a jawline that could cut glass. But it was his eyes that made her breath catch. They were an impossible shade of amber, almost golden, and they swept across the room with an intensity that made her skin prickle. Those eyes landed on her, held. Maya looked down immediately, her heart hammering for reasons she couldn't explain. She was used to being overlooked, passed by, forgotten. The attention felt wrong, like standing naked under stadium lights. She packed up her laptop with fumbling hands, nearly knocking over her cold brew in her haste. When she risked another glance, the man was still watching her, now standing at the counter but making no attempt to order. His head tilted slightly, nostrils flaring as if he were smelling something. Maya bolted. The Seattle drizzle hit her face as she pushed through the door, her backpack bouncing against her spine as she speed-walked toward the bus stop. The number 49 was already pulling up, a small mercy. She climbed aboard, swiped her card, and collapsed into a seat near the back, finally allowing herself to breathe. Through the rain-streaked window, she saw him, still standing in the coffee shop doorway, still watching. Even from this distance, even through the gray curtain of rain, she could feel the weight of that golden stare. The bus lurched forward and Maya told herself she was being paranoid. Nobody was interested in her. Nobody ever was. That night Maya's apartment felt smaller than usual. She heated up ramen, tried to ignore the scratching sounds in the walls, and settled onto her futon with her laptop. The transcription work was mind-numbing, but it was all she had since the administrative job at the university had fallen through. Again. Her phone buzzed, unknown number. She stared at it for 3 rings before answering. Hello. Silence, then breathing, deep, measured breathing. Who is this? Maya's voice came out smaller than she intended. You ran. The voice was deep, textured like smoke and velvet. You shouldn't have run. Maya's thumb found the end call button, her hands shaking. She blocked the number, then sat in the blue glow of her laptop screen, listening to the rain hammer against her single window. Just a wrong number, just a creep, just nothing. Except it didn't feel like nothing. Sleep came in fragments that night, punctuated by dreams of running through dark forests, of hot breath on her neck, of amber eyes glowing in the darkness. She woke at 3 in the morning to the certainty that someone was watching her window from the alley below. But when she gathered the courage to look, there was only rain and shadows. The next day, Maya changed her routine. Different coffee shop, different bus route, different everything. She told herself it was precaution, not fear. But when she glanced over her shoulder for the 7th time in as many minutes, she knew she was lying. The new coffee shop was smaller, dingier, tucked between a pawn shop and a check cashing place. Perfect. She ordered black coffee from a barista who looked as exhausted as she felt, then claimed a corner table where she could see both exits. She made it 45 minutes before she felt it again, that crawling sensation of being watched. Maya looked up slowly, already knowing what she'd find. He sat 3 tables away, completely still, completely focused on her. Today he wore dark jeans and a black Henley that stretched across shoulders that seemed too broad to be entirely human. The amber eyes were exactly as she remembered, hungry, intent, knowing. "Stop following me." Maya surprised herself with the steadiness of her voice. He smiled, and there was something not quite right about it. Too many teeth, too sharp. "I'm not following you, I'm protecting you." "From what?" "From them." He gestured slightly toward the window, and for the first time, Maya noticed the other people on the street. 3 of them standing in the rain without umbrellas, not moving, all looking directly at the coffee shop. At her. Maya's coffee suddenly tasted like acid. "I don't know what kind of game this is, but I'm not interested." "This isn't a game, Maya Chen." He said her name like he'd been saying it for years. "Your mother never told you what you are, did she?" The world tilted. "How do you know my mother?" "I don't, but I know what she was running from when she hid you here, buried you in this human city, tried to make you forget." He leaned forward, and Maya could see the way his pupils elongated slightly, the way his jaw seemed to shift beneath the skin. "It didn't work. They found you anyway." "You're insane." "I'm the only thing standing between you and a very painful death." He stood in one fluid motion that was too fast, too graceful. "We need to leave. Now." Maya didn't move. Couldn't move. Every instinct screamed at her to run, but her body refused to cooperate, frozen in the amber trap of his gaze. One of the people from outside entered the coffee shop. A woman in a soaked business suit, her blonde hair plastered to her skull. She moved wrong, too jerky, too stiff, like a puppet being controlled by someone just learning the strings. Her eyes were vacant, milky white. "Maya," the man's voice held warning now. "We leave now or we fight, and trust me, you don't want me to fight here." The blonde woman's head rotated toward them with an audible crack of vertebrae. Her mouth opened, wider than any mouth should open, and a sound came out that was somewhere between a scream and a growl. Maya ran. She didn't remember making the decision. One moment she was frozen in her chair. The next she was bolting for the back exit with the strange man's hand wrapped around her wrist, pulling her forward. Behind them, the thing that had been a woman launched itself across the coffee shop, overturning tables, sending ceramic mugs exploding against the walls. They burst into the alley, into the rain, and Maya's lungs burned with cold air and terror. The man pulled her left, then right, through a maze of back streets she didn't recognize. His grip on her wrist was iron, unbreakable, and he moved with the confidence of someone who knew exactly where he was going. "What was that thing?" Maya gasped. "Thrall, human possessed by someone very interested in taking you alive." He didn't sound winded at all. "We need to get you out of the city." "I'm not going anywhere with you. I don't even know your name." "Dante." He shot her a look over his shoulder, those amber eyes glowing even in the gray daylight. "And you don't have a choice. The hunt has found you, and they won't stop until you're dead or claimed." They rounded a corner and nearly collided with 2 more thralls, their vacant eyes fixing on Maya with horrifying precision. Dante swore in a language she didn't recognize, then did something impossible. He changed. Not completely, not into something else entirely, but his face shifted, bones moving beneath skin, teeth elongating into fangs, those amber eyes blazing like small suns. A sound rumbled from his chest, deep and resonant and utterly inhuman. A growl. A warning. The thralls hesitated. Dante used that moment to sweep Maya into his arms like she weighed nothing and run. Actually run, faster than any human could move, the world blurring past in streaks of gray and green. Maya squeezed her eyes shut and held on, because falling at this speed would paint her across the pavement. When he finally stopped, they were somewhere in the industrial district, surrounded by abandoned warehouses and rusted shipping containers. Dante set her down gently, and Maya's legs immediately gave out. She sat hard on the wet concrete, gasping. "What are you?" The question came out as a whisper. Dante crouched in front of her, his face human again, though his eyes still held that predatory glow. "You really don't know, do you? Your mother did her job too well. My mother died when I was 6, car accident. No accident. Dante's voice was gentle now, almost kind. She was killed, murdered by the same people hunting you now. Maya felt tears burning in her eyes, hot against her cold cheeks. Why? Why would anyone want to hurt me? I'm nobody, I have nothing. You're not nobody, Maya. Dante reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away, and brushed a strand of wet hair from her face. His fingers were warm, impossibly warm. You're the last daughter of the Moonfall Pack. Your bloodline goes back 1,000 years, to the first wolves who walked between worlds. And the Alpha of the Northern Territories has been searching for you for 18 years. Wolves? You're talking about werewolves? Yes. Maya laughed, a broken, slightly hysterical sound. This is insane. Werewolves aren't real. Dante's smile was sad. Tell that to the thing that tried to eat you 15 minutes ago. She couldn't argue with that. Maya wrapped her arms around herself, suddenly aware of how cold she was, how wet, how completely her life had just shattered into incomprehensible pieces. What does he want with me? This Alpha? That's complicated. Uncomplicated. Dante sighed and sat back on his heels. The Northern Territories Alpha is named Cade Blackwood. He's powerful, ancient, and completely ruthless. 20 years ago, there was a prophecy. It said that a child born of the Moonfall line would either be his greatest weapon or his complete destruction. When you were born, your mother knew what he'd do. She ran, hid you, used every ounce of her magic to make you human, to bury your wolf so deep you'd never feel it. But it didn't work. No, because you can't change what you are, Maya. You can only hide it for so long. Dante's eyes held hers. And now you're 23, the age when the wolf wakes whether you want it to or not. They felt it. The moment your dormant power started stirring, every supernatural creature within 500 miles felt it like a beacon. That's why Cade sent his thralls. That's why I'm here. Maya's head was spinning. You work for him. No, the word was sharp, definite. I work for my own Alpha, Marcus Silverfang of the West Coast Pack. When we felt your awakening, he sent me to find you first, to protect you. Why would he do that? Dante looked away, jaw tightening. Because Marcus believes the prophecy, and he believes you're the key to stopping Cade before he starts a war that will destroy every pack in North America. So I'm a weapon, that's what you're saying. I'm something to be used. No, Dante's hand covered hers, that impossible warmth seeping into her frozen fingers. You're a person who deserves a choice, but we're running out of time to give you one. Cade won't stop sending thralls. Eventually, he'll come himself. Maya wanted to pull her hand away, wanted to stand up, walk away, pretend this was all some elaborate prank or psychotic break. But the memory of those vacant eyes, that impossible mouth, the way Dante had changed, stopped her. What happens when he comes? He'll try to claim you, force a mate bond that will tie your power to his, make you his weapon whether you want it or not. Dante's thumb traced small circles on her palm, probably meant to be comforting, but just making her hyper-aware of every point of contact. Or he'll kill you to make sure no one else can use you against him. Those are terrible options. Yes. What's the third option? Dante's smile was grim. You come with me. Let me take you to Marcus. Learn what you are, how to control your wolf, how to fight. And then, when you're ready, we face Cade together. Maya looked at this stranger who claimed to be her protector, who'd saved her life, who was telling her that everything she thought she knew about herself was a lie. She thought about her tiny apartment, her minimum-wage transcription work, her carefully constructed life of invisibility and safety. Safe? She'd never really been safe at all. If I say no, then I'll do everything I can to keep you alive, but eventually I'll fail, and you'll die without ever knowing what you truly were. Dante stood, offering her his hand. Maya took his hand and let him pull her to her feet. Okay, she whispered, show me. Dante's answering smile transformed his face, made him look younger, almost relieved. It's a long drive to the territory. We should move. They made it 3 steps before the world exploded. The shipping container to their left buckled inward with a screech of tortured metal. Something massive hit it from the other side, something that made Dante freeze, nostrils flaring, a low warning growl building in his chest. "Run," he said quietly. "What is it?" "Not thralls." Dante stepped in front of her, his body shifting, bones cracking, muscles expanding. Much worse, Cade didn't send human puppets this time. The container toppled over with a thunderous crash, revealing what stood behind it. It was a wolf, but calling it that was like calling the ocean a puddle. It stood as tall as a horse, its fur black as midnight, its eyes burning crimson. Muscles rippled beneath that dark pelt, and when it opened its mouth, fangs the length of Maya's fingers gleamed wetly. Behind it, 3 more wolves emerged from the shadows, smaller but no less deadly. Dante finished his transformation and Maya couldn't suppress the gasp. He was still recognizably him, but taller, broader, covered in silver-gray fur, his hands tipped with claws that looked like they could shred steel. His amber eyes found hers one last time. "When I tell you to run, you run. Don't look back, head north. Marcus will find you." "I'm not leaving you." The massive black wolf laughed, a horrible sound that was half growl, half human. How touching! The voice was deep, cultured, amused. "The little pup thinks she has a choice." The wolf's form shimmered, contracted, reformed into a man. He was tall, powerfully built, with black hair shot through with silver and those burning red eyes. He wore the transformation like a casual change of clothes, utterly comfortable in his own monstrous nature. "Hello, Maya Chen," Cade Blackwood smiled, and it was the smile of a predator who just cornered his prey. "I've been looking for you for a very long time." Maya's wolf, the one she'd never known existed, finally woke up, and it woke up screaming. The pain hit Maya like lightning, white-hot and all-consuming. Her bones felt like they were trying to tear themselves out of her skin, her muscles spasming, her vision swimming between human sight and something else, something that saw in colors that didn't have names. She collapsed to her knees, a scream ripping from her throat that turned into something between a howl and a sob. "No, no, no," Dante's voice distant through the roaring in her ears. "Not like this, she's not ready." Cade's laughter cut through the pain. Ready or not, the wolf knows what's happening. She recognizes her alpha. "You're not her alpha." Dante's growl was pure fury, and even through her agony, Maya felt him move, placing himself between her and Cade. "You'll have to go through me." "That can be arranged." The fight erupted with brutal speed. Maya curled into herself on the wet concrete, barely able to process what she was seeing through tears and the impossible sensations racking her body. Dante and Cade collided in a blur of fur and fury, claws and fangs, moving faster than her eyes could track. The other 3 wolves circled, looking for openings, while Maya's body tried to decide whether it was human or something else entirely. She could feel it now, the thing that had been sleeping inside her for 23 years. It wasn't foreign or wrong. It was her, had always been her, just locked away behind walls her mother had built with desperate magic and love. Those walls were crumbling now, dissolving under the proximity of so much raw power, and the wolf was clawing its way toward freedom. But something was wrong. The transformation felt broken, jagged, like trying to force a puzzle piece into the wrong spot. Her mother's spell hadn't just hidden her wolf. It had damaged it, twisted it, left it malformed and incomplete. "Stop fighting it," Cade's voice cut through the chaos. He had Dante pinned against a shipping container, claws at his throat, but his eyes were on Maya. "The more you resist, the more it will hurt." "Don't listen to him." Dante managed to twist free, his claws raking across Cade's ribs, drawing dark blood. "Your wolf isn't his to command." "Isn't it?" Cade's smile was cruel as he healed almost instantly. "She's Moonfall bloodline. The old packs owed fealty to the northern territories. That debt passes down through generations. written in blood and bone. She was mine the moment she was born. The words resonated in Maya's chest, finding purchase in some deep, primal part of her that wanted to obey, wanted to submit, wanted to roll over and bare her throat to this powerful alpha. But another part, the human part, the part that had survived 23 years alone in a city that didn't care if she lived or died, that part snarled in defiance. She wasn't anybody's property. The thought crystallized into something sharp and bright, and Maya felt her wolf respond, not with submission but with rage. The transformation slammed through her like a breaking dam, and this time she didn't fight it. She let it come, let it reshape her, let herself become something she'd never been allowed to be. The world shifted. Colors intensified, sounds sharpened, smells became a complex language she suddenly understood. She could smell Dante's blood, sharp and copper, Cade's confidence, musky and thick, the other wolves' anticipation, acrid and hungry, and underneath it all the scent of the city itself, millions of humans going about their lives, completely unaware of the monsters in their midst. Maya opened eyes that saw differently now and pushed herself to her feet. 4 feet, paws instead of hands, fur instead of skin, and a strength in her muscles that felt like compressed lightning. She was smaller than the others, her fur a dark auburn that caught the light like embers. But when she drew her lips back from her fangs and growled, every wolf in the alley froze. Because her eyes were silver, pure, metallic silver, glowing like moonlight made solid. Impossible. Cade's voice held something Maya had never expected to hear from him: fear. The silver eye. The prophecy didn't mention the silver eye. You didn't tell him everything, did you? Dante, bloodied but grinning, circled to Maya's side. The Moonfall Pack didn't just produce strong wolves. They produced seers. Wolves who could see the threads of fate, who could walk the spaces between what is and what could be. That bloodline died out centuries ago. But Cade was backing up now, his 3 companions moving closer to him, defensive rather than aggressive. Apparently not. Dante's tail brushed against Maya's, a gesture of solidarity. Marcus suspected. That's why he sent me, not just to protect her but to find out what she really was. Maya's wolf didn't care about prophecies or bloodlines or ancient debts. It cared about the fact that these males were fighting over her like she was a prize to be won. The growl that rumbled from her chest made the concrete vibrate, and when she took a step forward, Cade actually flinched. Good, let him be afraid. Maya, Dante's voice was gentle but urgent. We need to leave. You've just completed your first shift. You need to change back before you get stuck, and I need to teach you how, but we can't do it here. She didn't want to leave. Her wolf wanted to fight, wanted to prove to this arrogant alpha that she belonged to no one. But Dante's words penetrated the red haze of instinct, and Maya realized he was right. She had no idea how to control this new form, no idea how to change back, no idea how to do anything except feel and rage and want. Cade seemed to sense her hesitation. You can't run from me forever, little seer. The prophecy said you'd be my weapon or my destruction. I won't let you be the latter. Then I guess you'll be neither. Dante's body tensed, preparing to run. Ready. Maya didn't know how to respond in this form, but she must have communicated something because Dante suddenly bolted, and her wolf followed without thought. They ran through the industrial district, 2 blurs of fur and muscle, leaving Cade and his pack behind. Maya expected them to give chase, but when she risked a glance back, they were just standing there, watching. Cade called after them, his voice carrying impossibly far. 3 days, Maya Chen. I'll give you 3 days to come to me willingly. After that, I come for you, and I won't be gentle. The Northern Territories need the silver eye, whether you agree or not. They ran until the city gave way to suburbs, then forest, then true wilderness. Maya's wolf reveled in it, in the feeling of earth beneath her paws, wind in her fur, the countless scents of living things surrounding her. This was what she'd been missing her entire life, this connection to something wild and ancient and free. Finally, in a clearing beside a stream, Dante stopped. He shifted back to human form, the change fluid and easy, and Maya felt a moment of panic. How was she supposed to do that? She didn't even know how she'd changed in the first place. It's okay. Dante, naked and completely unself-conscious about it, knelt beside her. First shifts are always involuntary. Changing back requires focus, but I'll talk you through it. Maya tried to tell him she didn't know what she was doing, but it came out as a whine. I know, listen to my voice. Feel your human form underneath the wolf. It's still there, it never left. The wolf is just a skin you put on, not a replacement. Find the edges of that skin and step out of it like taking off a coat. Easy for him to say. Maya closed her silver eyes and tried to feel what he was describing. But all she felt was wolf, 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 the human part of her buried so deep it might as well not exist. Panic started to set in. What if she was stuck like this? What if her mother's broken spell had made her transformation permanent? Breathe. Dante's hand touched her head, fingers threading through her fur. Panic makes it harder. You're not stuck, I promise. Every wolf can shift back. It's built into our nature. His touch helped, the warmth of his palm grounding her. Maya focused on that point of contact, used it as an anchor, and tried to find the human girl who transcribed interviews for minimum wage and lived in a studio apartment with mice in the walls. There, a flicker of memory of being small and invisible and safe in her insignificance. She grabbed onto it, pulled, and felt the wolf resist. It didn't want to go back. The wolf had been caged for 23 years, and now that it was free, it wanted to stay free. Maya couldn't blame it, but she needed her human form, needed to talk to Dante, needed to understand what the hell was happening to her life. She pulled harder. The shift back hurt worse than the transformation. Her bones shortened, her muscles contracted, her senses dimmed to human levels that felt like going deaf and blind simultaneously. When it was over, she was naked and shivering on the forest floor, her skin covered in goosebumps. Dante immediately draped his jacket over her. You did great. Most wolves take hours on their first try. Maya wrapped the jacket around herself, her hands trembling. What happens now? Now we run. Cade gave us 3 days, but he won't honor that. He's coming for you, Maya. And when he does, you need to be ready to choose what you'll become. Maya looked at her reflection in the stream, saw her silver eyes staring back, and knew her old life was gone forever. Whatever came next, whoever she became, there was no going back to being invisible. The hunt had found her, and now she had to decide whether to become the weapon, the destruction, or something else entirely.